Boom, cracking right into it. So this topic is kind of more broader. It's not just dance specific. I think it relates to everything we're touching in our life, honestly. I don't know how to fully communicate it, but I'm going to try my best because it is something that I believe in. And it's also interesting, and hopefully it kind of releases the pressure that we tend to put ourselves on. It helps me anyway. So it's all based around Newton's third law of motion, which is for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, what does this mean? Where am I going with this? It means that success has to happen to you. It also means that failure has to happen to you. And it's all based on exactly what it says. Every action, and that's the key word there. Action, a physical thing. No exercise up here. Nothing getting you can have as much ideas as you want, but if nothing's being acted on, if it doesn't get you into physical motion, it's useless. So that's the key word there. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. If I can break this down even further, why it means success literally has to happen to you. Success has no other choice but to be brought to you, because if you're taking enough action, correct action, in the pathway of getting to your goal, it has to happen because you're putting an action there, so it has to have an equal and opposite reaction. This is very kind of esoteric, and it doesn't like, oh, okay, well, what if I put an Instagram post and it gets 0 views, 0 likes? Well, what does that mean? And it was like, say you spent like a week on the video, a week on the photo, or whatever the heck. Like, you knew that it was good quality stuff. So when you put the action out there, it has to have an equal and opposite reaction, right? But just because you put one thing out there, one thing, it's kind of a number. This is going to be in like a numbers game essentially. Just because you put one thing out there doesn't mean you're going to get all the action that you thought was representative of that action. Just because of how you perceive the world and what you think may be the right equal and opposite reaction doesn't make it a reality. The market, if you will, determines the reality of what's going on. And so what this means is this is a good and bad thing, right? You can put it out there and you can get 0 views, 0 likes, 0 everything. And you could take that negatively and be like, oh, this means I'm crap. This means I don't know what I'm doing. It means a whole lot of things, honestly. It could mean you could have failed 2,000 different ways. But the good thing is it means there's an opportunity to learn there. There's always an opportunity to learn, and you took action. You're doing something physiological. You're literally putting it out into the world. You're sharing your ideas. You're sharing things. What this does for yourself could be, and as honestly probably the best, equal and opposite reaction. You're building better habits. You're building actionable habits into your life and into your physiology, so that it's easier the next time you do it. And when your physiology starts engaging in these things, your brain is going to start working on automatically how to do it better. It's just like if you were working on an assembly line, right? And you had to put like things together really quick. Say it was only 3 parts. Well, your first day on the assembly line might be like this part here, this part here, this part here, go. This part. You might be slow. Well, you work there for a year, you're automatically going to be quick. You're going to be like, oh yeah, da. And that isn't even like a conscious thing that you did. It's just when you're engaged in that process, in whatever process you're engaging in, your mind's going to start working as the tool that it is, not this this is me, I identify as my brain, because you shouldn't be doing that. Shit's going to it's thoughts, thinking all the time. It's too inconsistent, and it fucking sucks. So you get into that mode where you're taking action, consistently working on the same type of thing, putting the repetition in, and your mind automatically starts finding new ways how to make it faster, better. That's what our brains does. This is what our brain does. But that's what makes humans so great. That's our prime strength right there, right? Can you imagine what it took? Like, think about the cave paintings in caveman times when they put on the wall. Think about all the cave paintings we don't get to see and how shitty they look. I think, right? You imagine a caveman drawing a smiley face, like, and it's all like squiggly lines, all like fucked up. Like that had to have happened, right? Like all the shitty ass drawings of whoever decided to draw on the walls, right? He probably erased that shit and was like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to keep trying. So they just kept trying. Like, they weren't just able to freaking make that shit. This is what humans are good at. The more we repeat something, we are designed to figure out how to do that better, faster, and stronger. And so I encourage you to take that lesson into the things you want to accomplish in your life. Understand that you don't need the outside world's validation, the likes, the views, even the comments and whatnot. Doesn't have to necessarily come in. Those are good. Those are actually tools. I view those things as tools and as indicators to see how emotionally engaging my content is. But it doesn't necessarily, I don't derive my value from, or my internal value from what happens when I put those things out. I kind of derive the value from, am I taking action? Am I building better and stronger habits in my own life? Because say if you wanted to make a YouTube channel or you made a small business or whatever like that and it didn't work out. Well, all that time that you spent working on it built into your physiology. So now when you decide to do the next project in your life or move on to the next thing, it's easier. You have these built-in habits, and that is honestly probably more important than even necessarily getting the success and the validation from the outside world that you are doing a good job. And that is important. I don't want to disassociate, right? Everything is a balance, a yin and yang. Trust me, having the outside world give you feedback is super vital and super important to accomplishing anything. And you want to get that. But I'm just talking about a slightly different aspect. You can imagine if you spend just 20 hours a day literally doing the same thing. You're putting all of that action into play. All of that action into play. It has to go somewhere. It literally can't just, it has to go somewhere. And so if you're going out there being social, going to events, putting content into the world, trying to find new ways to distribute it, collaborating, there has to be a reaction to it, right? For instance, if you wanted to interview someone, and this is something that's on my mind because I want to do this is why I'm saying it, right? If I interview someone, and now it's a two-person video instead of just me blabbering off, right now I included someone else's life into this story. That means when I put it out to YouTube, Instagram, whatever the heck, Snapchat, whatever I put it, whatever website, whatever I put it out, it's now included with another person. That person's life is now with mine, right? So that person's going to want to share the content too. That person's going to want to say, hey, I put this out too. So now you got two people, two-person stories going out to more people. That's kind of how distribution works. I suck at distribution, but I'm trying to learn. And I'm trying to find ways to do it. So interviews is something that I definitely want to explore for myself. And that's one way how action is going to have an equal and opposite reaction. Say you go out in public and you film a dance piece and people are watching you. Well, right? Someone could be filming you and they put it up in theirs. Well, that goes out somewhere. Somehow maybe it reaches back around and connects to your content somehow. I don't know how. But, the more action you take, it has to go somewhere. Same thing with failure, though, right? If I stop putting out content, if I stop doing stuff, if I stop working on the business, if I stop, selling stuff on eBay, if I stop doing whatever it is that you want to work on and get better at, if you stop doing it, well, now there's no action of that thing being put in. You're taking a different action. Maybe you're watching TV. Or you're doing something else, hanging out with friends. And none of these things are bad. I'm not trying to say that these are bad. I'm just trying to create understanding around the actions you take do go places. The problem is it takes an insane amount of action to see that big moment that we're kind of all conditioned to expect and see, right? Oh, I want to get famous. It won't happen until I get that 1,000,000 views. That 1,000,000 views cannot come unless you spend all that time grinding and working and putting content. And for some people it comes really quickly. I mean, there's a whole bunch of comedians on Facebook right now that popped really quickly, but they've been putting out that content for a little while, and all of a sudden it's just that one content piece that just goes viral all of a sudden. But if you look at it, they've probably spent some time putting stuff out there. I'll go to dance channels randomly and look through the YouTube channels, and I'll scroll back all the way to their first video just to see when they started. And what do I find more than 9 times out of 10, even 10 times out of 10? 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago. They were doing videos years ago before it ever got to the point where I even saw their video. So it's about, a lot of it's faith too, that you're just gonna have this blind delusion that, okay, the action I'm taking is going to get somewhere. I'm always working to try and adjust it, get a little better, try little new things, maybe more provocative, maybe more shocking in content, maybe more friendlier in content, more sharing, more open, different stuff like that. You just keep trying. That's my focus. I'm just trying to adjust and see what it does, and also see how I feel about it. I mean, you start deriving a lot of pride actually from taking this stuff action in what you're doing when you're focused on a goal and where you want to go to. And I'm still working on it too. I have no idea where this shit's gonna go, but I know I have fun doing it, and it feels good to put this stuff out there. And for me, that's what I'm focused on now. Building these internal habits of taking action, focusing on where I can get it, and hopefully someday it'll go somewhere, it'll get somewhere, and it'll affect people, and who knows what. So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted this video to quickly be about, is that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This means success literally has to happen to you. It has to happen to you if you're putting enough action into there. The equal and opposite reaction will be your success, will be your financial gain, will be the stuff you sell, will be the fame, or whatever it is you're after, whatever the goal you're after it is, it can be achieved with enough action. It's literally physics. It's Newton's third law of motion. This shit is science, guys. This shit is science. So thank you for watching. Hopefully it helped. Boom. That felt good. I feel good. Thank you. 'Cause I'm